Hey guys, Francy here. So I hope you all enjoyed my last video on Harry Potter and the 10 reasons why you should read the books as well as see the films. Today, I'm actually going to do an opposite sort of video just to complete the series because why not? And you know, who wants to stop talking about Harry Potter? Not me. I could talk about it all day, all year long, but I also want to show the good side of Harry Potter. So I'm now going to counteract my last video with the 10 reasons why you should watch the Harry Potter films. You're watching, comment below and let me know with Francy. Welcome to comment below with Francy. Now there is nothing like watching a film series or just a film on its own after reading a book or the book series. And Harry Potter was not only no exception, but is the greatest example that I have of this. I read all the Harry Potter books when they came out, and I just love the series on its own. So when I found out that these books were actually going to be adapted to the big screen, I got really excited, and I couldn't wait to see how they were going to do everything. Now yes, as I said in my last video, there are many reasons why you should read the books as well as watch the films. Creative liberties that are taken into consideration, things that are added on, things that are left out, things that just get completely wrong. But there are things that they did do right in the films, and that is why I am not averse to going back and watching at least some of the films time and time again. So let's get into those 10 reasons right now. Reason number 1 comes in the form of casting. And I have to start off discussing how proud I was with casting. First of all, with Emma Watson, who plays Hermione Granger. When I went to watch the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone at the cinemas, I was quite worried with how all of the cast would look because I had an idea in my mind of how they looked from what I read in the books. When I saw Rupert Grint as Ron, I was a little bit disappointed, thinking, okay, he sort of reminds me of Ron's personality, but the look for me, it's just not enough. It's like they sort of half-assed it. But Emma Watson as Hermione Granger really worked for me. Little sidebar here though, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Apparently, J.K. Rowling did not meet Emma Watson in person. She met her over the phone, and because of the way that Emma reacted to her in their discussion on the phone, she thought Emma would be perfect for the role. When she finally met Emma, and Emma had already been casted, J.K. got really nervous because apparently Emma was too beautiful for the role. Apparently Hermione was meant to look even more geeky than Emma Watson did. She wasn't meant to be as beautiful as Emma Watson. No offense, J.K. Rowling, if you've seen any of my videos about Harry Potter, you know how much I love her, but I think that Emma Watson was cast perfectly for Hermione Granger. I feel like they got every single detail about Hermione in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone absolutely correct. That is not to say that I loved every single scene that Emma Watson did. That is not to say that every single moment of the Harry Potter film series depicted Hermione Granger exactly how she was in the books, and they certainly left out a very integral part, which is SPEW, the Society for the Protection of Elfish Welfare, which really upset me, not to mention the potions task that they were meant to get past in the first film, and other things as well. But just seeing this girl, Emma Watson, who I'd never met before, play Hermione Granger, I couldn't help but think the first time I saw her on the train saying, "I'm Hermione Granger, and you are," I just went, oh my god, this is Hermione, they've cast her so very well. The second person I want to talk about when it comes to casting is Ralph Fiennes. Oh my god, if you don't know who he is, he played the very first time we see a fully grown Lord Voldemort, and he does it really well. Now yes, in the books it does say he's meant to have red eyes, but I'm actually happy they didn't do that because it would have looked a little too comical, so I'm glad that it would have been more like your sort of superhero comic collection. And you know, he looked a lot more realistic this way, so I was very happy with the way that they did it, and his choice of keeping his voice down as much as he could. There's a lot to be said for villains who speak in a calm tone and a calm manner, because yelling is simply beneath them. And this definitely worked for Ralph Fiennes. Speaking of villains that talk in a very, low whisper, I have a lot to be grateful for the casting of Jason Isaacs. Oh my god, if ever I were to love a villain that's not portrayed in an animated film, it would have to be Lucius Malfoy, played by Jason Isaacs. My god, he does an amazing job. That long blonde hair, the staff he walks around with, great accessories to the character, but just the way that he holds himself. And again, he doesn't yell because he doesn't need to. His mere presence commands the space. Don't boast, Draco. It's not worth it around that kind. And I find him I just find him to be quite awesome. He really did the job very, very well. Not to mention, finally, when it comes to casting, because Daniel Radcliffe actually took a little bit of getting used to for me. I finally got on board with Daniel Radcliffe in the end, but at the start, I wasn't really on board with him, and I definitely wasn't on board with Rupert Grint. But Richard Harris, like Emma Watson, and the fact that Emma Watson is Hermione Granger, not just because we're used to her now, in Philosopher's Stone, she just was Hermione. She was everything about Hermione. Richard Harris encompassed everything that was to be Albus Dumbledore. He was absolutely fantastic. As you know, when I was talking in my last video, Michael Gambon, who took over Richard Harris, it's so unfortunate that Richard Harris died, because the character of Dumbledore in the films just went downhill really fast. And that's because of just how well Richard Harris played the role. To think that Richard Harris himself, and here's a sidebar for you all, a bit of trivia for you, only took the role because his granddaughter told him to. She said, and I quote, "I won't talk to you anymore if you don't take the role." So he did, and gosh, isn't it great that he did? He just played the role brilliantly. So a lot of love for a lot of the casting that they did, including the guy who played Sirius Black. I had a lot of praise for them casting Sirius, Molly Weasley, Dolores Umbridge, Professor McGonagall, but how can you go wrong with Maggie Smith anyway? She's just fantastic. A lot of you guys know how much I love Dame Julie Andrews. Second on the list for me with actresses has to be Maggie Smith, and so putting her in anything would have been great, but she definitely was the epitome of Professor McGonagall. But that's reason number one why you should watch the films, because they actually did some really good casting for the films. The second reason that you should watch the films might be an obvious reason when I tell you what it is, but it's definitely something that you have to keep in mind, keep in consideration, especially if you love the books as much as I do and would choose the books any day over the film. The films allow these characters to shine. We can actually see them for who they are. And I'm going to give you a fantastic example of this. Helena Bonham Carter, who plays Bellatrix Lestrange, or if you will, Lestrange. It really depends on how you pronounce the surname. People have been telling me different ways to pronounce it ever since I started saying Lestrange. Bellatrix, to me, in the books, comes across as this, well, no offense, but this bitch. And I'm just like, oh my god, I don't like you. Really, I get that Voldemort needs, a sidekick, or someone who's always going to be loyal to him. So not a sidekick, because Voldemort doesn't have sidekicks, but someone who's going to be loyal to him, and I get all that, but I just really didn't like her in the books. In the films, Helena makes her come to life. She is this crazy, over-the-top character that just never shies away from anything, and that character, I was able to be turned around by watching the performance that Helena gave. So definitely the second reason why you should watch the series is because you do get to see the characters come to life. And sometimes you might be disappointed, like I was with Rupert Grint and other things that I just keep picturing Hermione in that dress, and I can't believe I didn't bring it up in the first video. But anyway, that disappointed me, believe me. But someone, for example, like Bellatrix, who I hated in the books and just thought was a waste of space, I came to love after watching the films. So it's definitely the second reason why you should watch the films as well. The third reason why you should watch the films is because of the set designs. And the first thing that springs to mind for me is the Chamber of Secrets at the end of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Those, like, snakes that are on the side of the path, if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. And that big, I don't know what it was, but the big statue that the snake comes out of the mouth of, I don't know what it was. Was it meant to be Salazar Slytherin? I won't get into questioning what everything is, but just seeing these things is fantastic because, yeah, okay, if you're imaginative enough, then you can go into your own mind and say, okay, well, I'm imagining the Shrieking Shack to look like this. By the way, FYI, the way the film did the Shrieking Shack really pissed me off, and the Whomping Willow apparently can be stopped if Crookshanks hits a knot in the tree. We didn't see that in the film. That really pissed me off. But seeing that Chamber of Secrets was fantastic to see it come to life. Seeing not only Hogwarts, the Great Hall in Hogwarts, but the sky. Seeing it in the film, how you have the sky that's enchanted, made to look like the night sky, and just all these different things that really came to life, which were fantastic. It does, on the other hand, you know, have a flip side, and the flip side to that is we didn't get to see every common room, and I wish that we had. I wish we'd seen the Hufflepuff common room, and I wish we'd seen the Ravenclaw common room. If you want to have some idea of what this might look like in picture, certainly go to Pottermore, because Pottermore does show you an artist's illustration of what it would look like, and Pottermore is a website run by J.K. Rowling herself. She has to approve everything, so definitely go there if you want to have a bit of a look at what, you know, how J.K. would have it look. But yeah, so that was a bit disappointing for me, but to see the Gryffindor common room, to see the Slytherin common room was fantastic, because you felt how cold it was in there. So it really allowed everything to come together by seeing these magnificent sets, except for the Shrieking Shack, which was rather disappointing. The fourth reason why you should also watch the films comes with a bit of a sin to Harry Potter fans, including myself, but I think at the end of the day we should take it over the alternative. And that is, if you don't have time to read the books, if you don't like to read, if you can't read, if for some reason reading in general just doesn't work for you, it is better to watch the films than not to watch the films. Now, yes, there are some disadvantages, because there will be times when you watch the series and you sort of go, wait a minute, I don't quite understand what's going on here. But if you just take the films for the sake that it's a film and not question it too deeply, the films are pretty good. Compared to other films that I've seen, they are really good, and if they were created on their own without there being a book series, I think I really would have loved the films. The only reason I don't like them so much is because of the book series. So if you watch the films without reading the books, you will actually enjoy the experience, and if you commit to doing it within 24 hours, you can actually get it done as well. So it can be binged in a day, easily. I would not recommend that you do it. I would recommend that you would take time between the films to let them sort of sink in a little more. But definitely, because it is an alternative, if you can't read, don't want to read, just find the idea of reading to be painful, it is better to watch the movies than not experience Harry Potter at all. And there is nothing bad about Harry Potter. It teaches, I think fundamentally, Harry Potter teaches love. It's something that Dumbledore preaches throughout the book series, and he does say sometimes in the films as well. It does preach about love, loyalty, friendship. It's really something that is better off seeing than not experiencing this world at all. Coming in at number 5 is, well, kind of the opposite. The reason why you should watch the films as well as read the books is to see those moments that you're actually waiting for come alive. One of those examples is Harry's first potion lesson. Getting my tongue tied a bit here. Harry's first potion lesson with Professor Snape. And how he comes in, there'll be no foolish wand waving in this class. I do not expect you all to appreciate the exact art that is potion making, but for those who desire and excel in the predisposition. I can help you to excel the mind and whatever else he says, put a stopper in death and all of that stuff, down to the moments when he is saying, Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. So things that we remember in the books that we go, oh, I really want to see this happen, and they actually do. They may skip things, they may add things, but there are things in the films that happen verbatim in the books, and when they happen, it is a magical moment to see them expressed on screen. And I didn't give credit to him before, but I definitely have to give a lot of credit to Alan Rickman, because his portrayal of Professor Snape was fantastic. He was exactly how Snape was described and how I pictured him in my mind. The way that he talks, and if you've seen the films, you know what I mean. He doesn't, like, yell or anything like that. Again, he's very commanding in the way that he talks. He's very, softly spoken, but it doesn't matter because his presence means enough, If I might, Headmaster, perhaps it was that Potter and Weasley were on the wrong place at the wrong time. However, it's just, it's really well done. And also he's described as having this bat-like quality with his cape and the way he swishes the cape, and he does all that. So seeing these things jump off the page and into the screen when they are done exactly right is a beautiful thing. So definitely, I do encourage you to watch the films as well as read the book, for sure. Reason number 6 is seeing that moment at the end of the Goblet of Fire, or towards the end of the Goblet of Fire. I know, I don't like this film, but I love this scene, and quite frankly, if I were to edit films down to the bits I like, with Goblet of Fire, it would literally just be this scene. Watching the moment from Harry arriving in the graveyard at Godric's Hollow until he gets back to the school. That whole scene in the grave is fantastic. It is so well done. From nothing to using Harry's blood to Voldemort coming alive to that epic moment, which, oh my god, Ralph Fiennes, I love you so much for that moment where he's like, but I can touch him now. Oh my god, it is so epically done. And if you don't see the films, you can't appreciate that moment where, when I was reading in the book, I was like, oh, okay, so he's making a point that he can touch him, but it's so dramatically done. I can touch him now. It's so good. So definitely, that is another reason why you should definitely watch the films. Let's hope that I'm up to date with the sequence. I think I'm up to 7. Let's hope I am, and if I'm up to 5, then I've skipped one and I apologize. Reason number 7 as to why you should watch the films as well as after you've read the books and as well as reading the books is for the battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort. Speaking of Voldemort, he has this wonderful battle with Dumbledore at the Ministry of Magic, and it is done really well. Do I think they could have gone further? Yeah, but I don't think I would ever be 100% satisfied. I think there's always going to be room for growth with that scene, like the visual side of doing that scene. But they actually did a pretty good job. Like, I'm certainly not complaining about that scene. I think it was done really well. I was looking forward to seeing the fire that Voldemort brought, and when I mean that like literally rather than metaphorically. He uses a spell of fire. Dumbledore using the water ball. I was looking forward to seeing all those things, and they do happen. But also the way that, also seeing Dumbledore and Voldemort in the same room, and just the way that Dumbledore talks to him as an adult. It was foolish of you to come here tonight, Tom. Yes, again, it is played by Michael Gambon, who should never have been casted, but I forgive him in this scene because it does work. Which actually will bring me to my next point. The 8th reason why you should watch the film, and please hear these words because I need to be very specific, is for the few times that Michael Gambon, being how he is, works for Dumbledore. There are very few times that it does work, and I'll explain it to you. Dumbledore gets darker as the series goes on, as the book series and the film series goes on, as does both series in general. They just get darker in general. I don't know how Richard Harris would have gone, with being a darker Dumbledore. But when you look at the one I just spoke about, the scene between Voldemort and Michael Gambon, it does work really well that he is a darker Dumbledore. When you look at the scene of Dumbledore drinking I think it's called the Drought of Death, in the cave when they're getting that first Horcrux and Half-Blood Prince, and just, you know, very select few moments where it actually does work that he is a darker Dumbledore than Richard Harris was. So that is definitely a reason to watch it, because, yeah, sometimes he actually does do a good job. This might be controversial among some people, but reason number 9 as to why you should watch the films as well as read the books is because in The Goblet of Fire, the film that I hate, and I'm giving it praise, I know, right? Can you believe it? It's true. They actually do stick to the book's idea, and you do not see Quidditch at all. So if you don't like Quidditch, watch The Goblet of Fire. It doesn't happen. Yes, Harry Potter and Ron and Hermione and others, they do go to the Quidditch World Cup with Arthur Weasley, but you don't actually see the match at all. Then when they get to Hogwarts, I had this really nerve-wracking feeling that the director was going to try and actually keep the Quidditch inter-house competition at Hogwarts because everyone just loved Quidditch. But in the books, Dumbledore says right at the start of the school year, Quidditch has been cancelled for this year. It's not going to take place because of the fact that we have the Triwizard Tournament, and they kept that in the film. So if you want to see a film without Quidditch, you have to watch Goblet of Fire. But in saying that, you might be disappointed with the film, but hey, there's no Quidditch. So to me, that's a thumbs up. Absolutely a thumbs up, and I will always stick to that. I don't like Quidditch. I wish that JK had come up with something else that wasn't Quidditch, but that's just me. Quidditch is such a dangerous sport. I don't know why wizards want to be involved in it, but again, that might just be me. Nothing against flying on brooms, but playing a sport with, like, bludgers, I don't get. Like, I love the idea of the snitch and all that, and, like, tracking down the golden snitch. That seems like a lot of fun. But, I know, like, the bludgers, really? Like, people have died in Quidditch, so, you know, why would you play this sport? It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, let's move on to the 10th reason why you should watch the films. Reason number 10 why you should watch the films, I am going to actually talk about the first couple of films and not the last couple of films. And I'm so sorry that I'm dividing this, but if you've seen the films, you'll know what I mean. Reason number 10 why you should definitely watch the first couple of films of Harry Potter. Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but not the rest, is because of how much Emma Watson brings Hermione Granger alive on the screen. She's just so perfect. I know I mentioned her in casting, but my point here is watching that character. No one is bowing down to, oh, we gotta, you know, make this character relatable so that people understand her and all that sort of thing. Okay, maybe when she cries a little bit and then, you know, Harry and Ron end up, you know, becoming her friend in the first film, but that happens in the book anyway, so I totally accept that. But Hermione is her own character. In the last couple of films, like from Goblet of Fire on, Hermione is something that I don't quite understand. Like when she wakes up, Harry, get up now. Really? What the hell? And by the time Hermione is casting the Repugno spell because she's upset with Ron in whatever film that was, which was the Half-Blood Prince, the way she says, like, Repugno, I was expecting her to blast it, like, Repugno. Just like, Repugno, because I'm a little mouse. Where she's not a mouse. If you watch that very first scene, and if you watch nothing else, you've got to watch the very first time that Harry, Ron, and Hermione are together in a scene, and it's on the train going to Hogwarts, and you have to watch Hermione because she's just so awesome, and she's so like her character in the book. And this video is first and foremost based on the theory that if you've read the books, you need to watch the films. I loved her because I thought she's someone who's just so smart, and she really doesn't take crap from anyone. She's not changing who she is because other people say that she should, and I think that's wonderful. Like, I have so much love for who she is, and so seeing her do that scene in the compartment, she's like, "Oh my Jiminy Cricket, you're Harry Potter, I'm Hermione Granger, and you are pleasure." And of course that scene when they get back to the dormitory after they nearly get caught, I think it's by Filch in the first film, and she's like, "Now I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled." It's just so well done, and so for me, I've never seen a character brought to life in such an exact way that it's presented in the books than it is with Hermione Granger and Harry Potter in the first and the second, and sometimes in the third film as well. By the time we get to the fourth, fifth, and sixth film, I don't see her as Hermione. I see her as, I don't know, Emma being Emma. Yeah. But the first couple of films, you definitely have to watch that. But for the bonus reason, because you'll get the full experience. Like I said in the other video that I was doing, the reason you should watch the books as well as the films, you should read the books as well as the films, is to get the full rounded experience. It's the same thing if you're reading the books. You should watch the films to get the full experience. There are issues with the films. This video was much harder for me to make than the other one. I know this video is only going for half an hour, but believe me, I've been spending an hour, I think nearly 2 hours creating this video because it is really hard for me to go, okay, here's a reason why you need to watch the film. But when they get it right, they get it right. And it does give you that experience of going, here's what I'm imagining the world to be, and here's an image of what the world is. Here is a depiction of what the world is right in front of us. We can actually see this being carried out. So for that reason, for the well-rounded reason, I think you definitely should do both. Now, as I've already said in the last video that I did, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, I knew that I wasn't going to like it. Did I go to the cinemas and watch it? Yes. Did I know it was going to be a waste of money? Yes. Was it a waste of money? Yeah, until the last 10 minutes, because I did like the scene with Hermione and Bellatrix and the whole thing at Malfoy Manor, and I like how it ends. I love how it ends with Voldemort getting the wand from Dumbledore. My god, that was just so perfectly done. It's like, oh my god, I want part 2. But I still went. I knew it was going to be terrible, but I still went for that well-rounded experience. I didn't go in, unlike other films, thinking, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this, I want to see that. I was going, okay, I'm going to hate this, but let's see what they do. They might change my mind, but let's just get that experience of seeing it on the screen. So I think you definitely should do that. If you're passionate enough about the books, you should definitely watch the films. Is that to say that you can't sound off below with why you hate the films, why you hate the books, what you like about the books or the films but don't like in the other one, whatever it may be? Certainly not. That is why we do comment below and let me know, so that you guys can watch and then comment below and let me know your thoughts and opinions. So please do that. In the meantime, make love and not war. Keep your eggs sunny side up. Give someone you love today. And of course, don't forget to sing. Welcome, welcome to comment below with Francy.